Let's talk about fillets this week. With Inventor, you get one command that does both the fillets and the rounds. And if you remember, a round is the exterior, a convex surface, and then the fillet is the interior or concave surface. But we typically call them all fillets, okay? I've just got here, I got a couple of cubes and a cylinder and then a little kind of like a rib here on the back side. So I'm just going to demonstrate how these work. If you want to make you up a part similar to this, just experiment with it. So let's look at the pull down on the fillet command. First, we've got just the fillet command itself, and then we've got face fillet, which you pick the two faces and it creates a fillet between those, okay? And then a full round. So let's go with a face fillet. And here we pick a face and another face, and then it creates whatever radius we said our fillet was. Okay, so that's yeah, I can't explain too much about that. That's pretty easy. But let's look at the full round. And this one is unique in that it doesn't come up often, but you will see it in several parts. And it doesn't ask you for a radius of your fillet because it's just going to round it over whatever it is. So you select an A side, the center, and then the B side, and it creates whatever radius is needed to create that, okay? And on all of these, if you expand the advanced, you can see what these are, okay? And some of these we'll have to play with them. So I'm going to cancel out of that. And let's go back to the regular fillet command. Most of the time, you're going to use this right here, just adding a constant radius edge. Okay. I would recommend that you set your radius that you want before you start picking things to fillet, because if you don't have enough room to create the fillet at that radius, it will kind of tell you as you're going through it. So some of the options down here, okay, this is align priority. So you pick one edge at a time. So if I turn that on and I pick that edge, you can see it filleted that edge. Okay, and I can continue picking edges as I go through here. Okay, I'm going to escape out of that and start over. If I go, this is loops, and if I select that one, now I get near an edge, and it highlights that loop, and it will create the fillet around that loop. Okay. The third one is a feature. Okay. And so here, because I've got 4 different extrusions here, I picked just the one, and you can see here it doesn't really like doing that with that radius. And I look at my error message and it tells me too complicated to trim and join the part, try adding more edges or specifying a smaller radius. This is you're going to run into this with some of your models. So sometimes feature is not the best one to use. So let's go to associative of all solids. Now it likes this one for whatever reason, and you can see it still didn't like the bottom one. Okay. Maybe it's probably because of this right here. It can't create a good fillet across that edge because my total width is 0.24 and I do a 0.125 fillet. It doesn't like that. So let's go back in let's go back to individual lines here. What happened? I don't know what's going on with that. It's going back into that first command. So if I leave it on the, let's go to loop and come over here and hit this edge here. See, it won't fill it that outside edge because of the radius. But if I were to change that radius down to 0.12, now it'll do it. Okay. So you can see it did it now. But you see, when I do loop, it wants to do these bottoms also. So that would not be a good way to fill it, that one. Let's take that back up to 0.125. And we can go with loops. Okay. And so you can see we're coming around. But the problem with this is it's doing the bottoms also. All right, so we haven't done it. See, it picked up some of these. So a lot of times, sometimes loops is good. Sometimes loops doesn't work very well. Back with lines here. I don't know what happened. Oh, that wants to go down to there. So I don't want that. So let's okay that. And you can see that kind of looks wonky right there. So we come back into our fillet command. And let's expand advanced properties. And I'm going to turn off automatic edge change. But it still picked up that whole edge. So let's turn off that. Okay. It's still picking it up. Weird. Usually it would not pick up the entire thing. But you can see this is real wonky looking, and that's not a good choice of filleting. So I'm going to right click that one and giving me a choice to edit it. But I can come back over here and delete these. Delete it. There. Okay. Part of what's causing it is this fillet right here that came about with that top. With this. So let's just take all those out. So a lot of times these automated things are not the best way to deal with them. So let's go back to go fillet again. I got line. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, that's just a weird, this is a weird feature, so it's not a good demonstration for, because what would happen, in creating this shape, most of the time what would happen is this fillet would be put in all the way across, then this top edge of this web would be affixed to it. Okay. And so now those are working okay there. Let's look at variable fillets, and we're going to pick that edge. And what it tells you, it gives you a radius at both ends. Well, sometimes you're going to run into some drawings to where you can't get the same radius at both ends of it. And it's almost like it's tapered. So we'll start down here at the bottom, and we're going to say 0.06. And you can see that it just gradually goes from 0.06 to 0.125. Well, I can add a point in there and then change the radius. Okay. So I added a point and then changed my radius back to full. So sometimes the variable radius is what you want. Okay. Let me put in some coming around the edge here. Okay. Now then, the other thing here was the corner setback. And I've been trying to work with this thing, and it's just not, just haven't been able to get it to pick up things. So I'll have to do a little looking on that one. But that pretty well covers fillets. Yeah, we covered all those. Okay, so the chamfer works pretty much the same way. Except for we have, this one may be a little tricky. Okay, we'll come down here so you can see the bottom. So we have three different methods here. The first one is distance in both directions. Then we have a distance and an angle, and then we have two distances. Most chamfers are going to be at a 45-degree angle, with the same. And so you pick the edge there that gets the chamfer. Okay. Let's do that one again. So if we have an edge and an angle, here you pick a face. Well, you set your distance and your angle. Let's change that to 30 degrees. Okay. And so you can see how that works, and you're just going to have to play with it to get a feel for which way it goes. But you can see it's the 1/8 inch on the side of the face, and then the angle coming off of that face. So I'm going to apply, and now let's do it this way on that edge. And you can see from the face I selected, it goes the 1/8 inch distance down, and then the angle comes out of that. The other option was two distances. And we'll go an 1/8 inch and a 1/4 of an inch. I don't know if I wanted to go all the way around. It's not going to build that because of everything I got going on there. So let's come over here with this one. Okay. And if you don't like the direction, you can flip there and it will flip that. Okay. Let's see. Chamfers, the partial chamfer. I have not used this very much. I just be honest with you, I have never used a partial chamfer that I can think of. I would have to I'd have to look that up to see how to actually do that. I'm looking at my notes. I've got pretty much everything covered on fillets, champers. This week in a drawing, we've got an auxiliary view, and I've covered that, and I think it was the week 6. They're pretty easy to create, so I'm not going to hit them again in this video. But if you've got questions, send me an email so that we can get you fixed up, okay?